The Pathfinder 2nd Edition Alchemist is possibly the single hardest class in the game to play well, especially in its original form, but given the Pathfinder 2e remaster that we got a few weeks back releasing the Alchemist in Player Core 2, the class has been honestly revamped in an amazing way that keeps all of its original identity while also giving it some really fun new toys. Howdy, my name is Nonat and welcome to my deep dive into the Pathfinder 2e Remastered Alchemist. I can't believe I got that in one take. Okay, let's do this. The Alchemist is an intelligence-based class, however it is not a spellcaster, meaning technically the Alchemist is a martial character with intelligence as its main ability score, that no other classes in the game have ever done before as a martial class. Okay, but Alchemist did it first. They also gain hit points equal to 8 plus your Constitution modifier per level, and they also... Okay, you know what? I can't just keep pretending things are fine anymore. There's a question that I have been bombarded with for months now. No, years. Literally almost 2 full years of my life, I've been attacked with this question constantly. And that question is, where do you get all of those amazing shirts you wear in your videos? Well, today I'm caving in. You want your answers? Here's your answer. These shirts come from the sponsor of today's video, GeekTropical.com. Geek Tropical has actually kind of been shadow sponsoring the channel for literally 2 years now. 2 years ago, they sent me a few of their free shirts, which you have seen in plenty of my videos, and they have reached out again, and we are working together to have a full on-screen sponsorship to show you exactly where you can get these amazing shirts. Geek Tropical is a small local business here in the USA that has produced over 300 unique, geeky, nerdy designed button-down tees for you to wear to make you look as good as me. Over 80 of these nerdy prints are specifically designed for D&D and TTRPGs as a whole. There are so many cool dice designs and like fantasy themed designs. Just look at the ones I have here on screen. They're fantastic. I'm still dreaming of the day that I work up the courage to buy the red dragon scale button down someday. All of the artwork sourced for all of these designs is also done by actual artists, by the way. Geek Tropical proudly claims no AI art is used in any of their designs whatsoever. And if all of that hasn't sold you yet, what if I told you that I strong-armed Geek Tropical into giving all of you a 10% off discount code if you check out with code NONAT1s, N-O-N-A-T-1-S. That'll snag you 10% off your order no matter how many you buy, and I really do recommend them. They're incredibly breathable and comfortable, and especially light. Like in the hot summer months like this, I've been wearing these more than anything else in my wardrobe because they're stylish and also just really comfy. So if shirts like this are something you want to add to your wardrobe, which I highly recommend, click my affiliate link in the description, and anything you buy using that link or using my discount code will tell Geek Tropical, hey, Nonat1's fans really like these shirts. We should pay Nonat more money to talk about it more, because talking about things that I really truly believe in and really love supporting is one of my favorite ways to get sponsored on this channel. I swear by Geek Tropical, I love them so freaking much, and I hope you will as well. Thank you so much, Geek Tropical, for sponsoring this video. Let's get to the Alchemist. The Alchemist begins the game trained in perception and only trained in will saves, but expert in both fortitude and reflex saves. They only get trained in crafting automatically from their class, but they do get 3 plus their intelligence modifier in additional skills, meaning you can get like 6 or 7 skills just from your class. Alchemists are only trained in simple weapons with one exception. They're trained in alchemical bombs, which, double check my work, I believe are considered martial weapons, but the alchemist can use them like normal. They're trained in light and medium armor, and of course the alchemist class DC, possibly one of the most important class DCs in the entirety of Pathfinder 2e, which we'll get into later. And because you know I love to hammer it home, every single class, including the alchemist, gets 4 free attribute boosts they can apply to any ability modifier they would like to. So after you get your ancestry background class bonuses, you can apply 4 more to any 4 attributes of your choice. Alright, let's hunker down and talk alchemy. I'm going to explain this as simple as possible because alchemy can be incredibly terrifying to see, especially from a new player perspective. Alchemy, and by extension the Alchemist's advanced alchemy features, change the way crafting works for the alchemist, sort of. Regular crafting in Alchemy would take 4 in-game days to make one batch of items. However, alchemists get to cheat. Every single day during their daily preparations, they can make 4 plus their intelligence modifier consumables right away. You need to have the formula for these items, and they need to be equal to your level or lower, but just you wake up in the morning and you can make any combination of bombs, poisons, elixirs, or any other alchemical items of your choosing as long as you know how to make them. You just have these consumables for the entire day. You can use them yourself, you can give them to your allies, however you want to use them. However, keep in mind that these have the infused trait, meaning they have been thrown together by whatever ingredients you could get your hands on in the area, meaning they will become inert after 24 hours. At your next daily preparations, all of the alchemical items you made no longer work, and you get to make new ones. So use them or lose them, basically. You'll typically begin the game at level 1 with 8 formulas in your formula book. 2 from being an alchemist, 2 from your subclass, and 4 from the alchemical crafting skill feat that you get just for being an alchemist. So if you've got a +4 intelligence at level 1, then you can make 8 items in the morning. You can make 1 of each, or you can make any number. You can make 7 alchemist fires, and then just 1 little elixir of life if you want to. Every single time you gain a level as an alchemist, you get to add 2 more formulas of your new level or lower to your formula book. So you'll just automatically gain new items every single time you level up. Additionally, if you have taken any level of items formula, say a minor elixir of life, that one formula counts for every single level of that item. You don't need to add more formulas for lesser and moderate and greater elixirs of life. Just one formula in your book has all of them. New to the remaster is the Alchemist's versatile vials feature, possibly the most needed upgrade the Alchemist could have ever asked for. During your daily preparations, you create 2, plus your intelligence modifier, versatile vials. At base, these can just be thrown as a bomb that deals 1d6 plus 1 splash acid damage. That's it. They are just reliable little acid bombs, and as long as you are not currently in a combat encounter, every 10 minutes, you gain a versatile vial, which restocks up to your limit, which is the same amount you start the day with, 2 plus your intelligence modifier. So if you go through a combat, throw 2 of these vials, and then 20 minutes pass after that combat, you've got 6 vials again. It's sort of like refocusing for focus spells, except you don't even need to meditate or focus on it. You just automatically, passively gather new vials. Also, just like the infused items from Advanced Alchemy, your versatile vials are also infused, meaning they will be destroyed at the beginning of your next daily preparations, where you'll of course make new ones. And as an additional little boon, versatile vials have no bulk. Doesn't matter how many you have, granted you can only have up to your total capacity, but they will never weigh you down in any way. Just a little quality of life thing. Now, on their own, versatile vials don't sound that exciting. It's a 1d6 plus 1 damage bomb. What's so special about that? Well, it's because they're now used with Quick Alchemy, which has gotten a total makeover. For one action, as long as you have a free hand and are wearing your alchemist tools, then you can choose one of 2 actions: Create Consumable or Quick Vial. Create Consumable is the main use of this, expending one of your current versatile vials to instantly create any consumable you have the formula for of your level or lower for no gold cost. If you are level 1 and you just need an elixir of life, you can one action Quick Alchemy, sacrifice a versatile vial, you now have an elixir of life. The catch is that this becomes inert at the start of your next turn. So yes, you can make any item you need on the fly, but it only lasts for 6 seconds. Now, if it does have an extended effect after being imbibed, like an elixir or a mutagen, if somebody does take it, then they will get the full benefit of that effect. That benefit doesn't disappear after 6 seconds, but if you create a bomb and you don't throw it, that bomb just becomes a dud in your hand. And the Quick Vial option allows you to, for one action, whip up a versatile vial that only lasts for 1 turn. Now, this vial is a lot more limited, as it can only be used as the 1d6 acid bomb that it normally is, or a special option given by your subclass, but it cannot be used to Quick Alchemy other items, so you cannot Quick Vial, Create Consumable at all times. This has upgraded the Alchemist in so many ways. Now, if you suddenly stumble across a creature with a horrible weakness to fire damage, then you can just one action Quick Alchemy a firebomb and throw it, even if you didn't prepare any that morning. So, with the absolute basics out of the way, yes, those were the basics of the Alchemist, let's get into the big decision you'll have to make at level 1, your subclass, the Alchemist research field. The Alchemist has 4 different research fields to choose from: the Bomber, Chirurgeon, Mutagenist, and Toxicologist, each specializing in one of the 4 distinct types of alchemical items. Each research field provides 6 unique benefits to the Alchemist, so let's go over what these benefits are before we go over the subclasses themselves. The first 3 benefits are all available right at level 1. You gain 2 common first level formulas of the alchemical item that matches your subclass's specialty. You gain a unique field benefit, which will change the way certain alchemical items work for your subclass, and you will get the field vials ability, which is going to augment how you specifically can make use of your versatile vials in a new way. And then at levels 5, 11, and 13, you get 3 more abilities unique to your subclass that augments your chosen alchemical item types. Let's get started into these subclasses with the Bomber. The Bomber gets 2 extra formulas for bomb items into their formula book, and their field benefit allows them to choose whether or not the splash damage of a bomb actually splashes. Typically, splash damage will be dealt to every single creature adjacent to your target, but if your fighter is next to that target, you don't want to splash them with acid. The Bomber can choose to only have that bonus splash damage affect the primary target and nobody next to them. Very, very nice in claustrophobic situations. And their field vial is that instead of having all of their versatile vials deal 1d6 acid damage by default, they can choose to have it deal acid or cold, fire, or electric. The Bomber Alchemist is now amazing at taking advantage of elemental weaknesses right at level 1. At level 5, all splash damage on bombs is upgraded. The Alchemist can now choose to deal their intelligence modifier in splash damage instead of the listed splash damage. So if they throw something that would only normally deal 1 point of splash damage, well, now it'll deal 4. At level 11, the Bomber Alchemist can mix fine powders of special materials such as cold iron or adamantite into their versatile vials, so when they throw them, if the target has a weakness to cold iron, it triggers that weakness. But what's cool is if you are wearing or holding an item that is made of a different precious material, you can sort of scrape off little shavings from that item to make your bomb treated as that item. Super cool. And finally, at 13th level, the Bomber Alchemist can treat splash radiuses as 10 feet instead of 5, or if they already took the feat that makes it 10 feet, they can make it 15 feet instead. Fantastic subclass if you just want to blow people up. The Chirurgeon specifically gains 2 new first level formulas that are elixirs with the healing trait. I think that's only 3 of them. I think it's Antidote, Anti-Plague, and Elixir of Life. But additionally, their field benefit is that anything in the game that requires a medicine check or medicine proficiency as a prerequisite can be met with crafting instead. Whenever the Chirurgeon bumps their skill bonus up in crafting, they're basically bumping crafting and medicine at the same time. They don't need to waste any points on medicine. They can use treat wounds with crafting. They qualifies for medicine skill feats with their crafting proficiency. Before we go over the Chirurgeon's field vial effect, I do need to go over a unique trait to the Alchemist, Coagulant. Coagulant is a special trait typically applied to any alchemical items that restore hit points. If you are affected by a healing alchemical item with the Coagulant trait, you cannot benefit from a healing alchemical item with the Coagulant trait again for 10 minutes. This is unfortunate because the Chirurgeon's field vial ability allows them or another creature to drink their versatile vials to heal for 1d6 hit points. And in addition to that, if a creature is within 20 feet of the Alchemist, they can just throw the vial at them, splashing them with the healing elixir versatile vial for 1d6 hit points. But once somebody has been healed by an infused Coagulant versatile vial, they cannot be healed again by that vial for 10 minutes. A little bit restrictive in a way that I don't think was necessary, because a 10-minute cooldown on 1d6 healing doesn't seem that necessary, especially with the dying and wounded rules of Pathfinder 2. So effectively, the Chirurgeon can look at this as each ally, once per combat, you can heal them for 1d6. It's fine. And obviously the hit points restored is going to go up as the versatile vials get stronger with level. At 5th level, the Chirurgeon's Field Discovery upgrades their healing items in the way that any creature that drinks them gains temporary hit points equal to the Alchemist's Intelligence modifier. Keep in mind, This does specifically say they have to drink it. So if you throw it at them and this splashes them with the healing, they are not going to gain the temporary hit points. At 11th level, they gain the benefit that as long as their items are being used to heal a creature with less than half health, if that item has the coagulant trait, it doesn't apply. So as long as your target is below half health, you can just keep chucking your versatile vial healing elixirs at them to heal them. But if you ever heal them while they are above half health, it becomes affected by coagulant, which is important because if they dip back down below half health, that doesn't go away. So you cannot heal them over half health, otherwise they will coagulize? Is that a word? And then at level 13, the Chirurgeon absolutely pops off. Whenever you use Quick Alchemy to create an elixir of life and a creature drinks it, they heal the full possible healing rather than rolling it. To put this into perspective, at level 13, they get access to a new level of Elixir of Life that heals 7d6 plus 18. As long as you use Quick Alchemy to make it, that just becomes an elixir of plus 60 hit points. This is obviously weaker than something like the Cleric's Heal, or any heal spell for that matter, but it's so reliably potent and infinite. The Mutagenist. I feel the need to explain that the Mutagenist uses a special alchemical item called a mutagen, which looks like this. They are very controversial. I can't speak, apparently. They're fairly controversial items because they come with a moderate bonus and then a usually decent-sized setback. Even worse is the fact that these drawbacks are not typed penalties. It's not like it's a status penalty, so if you get frightened, it's going to stack on top of that. If you get a circumstance penalty, it's going to stack on top of that. These are just permanent penalties for as long as the mutagen affects you. And as usual, at level 1, the Mutagenist gets 2 common mutagens added to their formula book, and anytime they ingest a mutagen, they gain temporary hit points equal to their intelligence modifier plus half their level for 1 minute. So if your first action every combat is to pop a quick mutagen, well hey, you get a little bit of a nice little shield on top of yourself. But this is limited in that you can only gain temporary hit points this way once per minute. So you can't just pound mutagens every turn for infinite temp hit points. And their level 1 field vial is okay. Rather than throwing their versatile vials as a bomb, they can drink it and suppress the drawbacks of one of their active mutagens until the start of their next turn. This is fine, I guess, but remember, if you want to do this and you're out of versatile vials, it's going to be 2 actions. 1 to create the vial, 1 to drink it. And then you're left with 1 action to attack or move, I suppose. It's a little bit tough. The mutagens are really, really cool, but because of the way Pathfinder 2e is balanced, they're one of the hardest alchemical items to properly make use of. It's cool that the mutagenist can ignore the drawbacks of those mutagens. I just wish it was for a little bit longer than just 1 round, and that it didn't cost so many actions to do. At level 5, they get a fantastic upgrade, allowing them to, should they ever roll a fortitude save and don't like the results, they can willingly end 1 mutagen currently affecting them to just re-roll the save. So you nat 1 your saving throw, but you've got a mutagen on? Cool. Turn that mutagen off, re-roll the saving throw. Fantastic. It is unfortunate that this only applies to fortitude saves, but that's 1/3 of all saving throws. That's a lie. It's probably like a quarter. Reflex and will are more common. But it's still good. Now, the advanced vial upgrade to their versatile vials is pretty good. Now, whenever you swig the vial to reduce the drawbacks of your mutagen, you also gain resistance to all physical damage equal to half your level. You know, you get this at level 11, that's 5 damage reduction against all physical damage. It's just going to keep getting better, and if you want to swig that vial every single turn to get rid of the drawbacks, that's not bad. Just quote-unquote permanent damage reduction. And at level 13, it's unfortunately not nearly as exciting as the other 2 subclasses. You can now benefit from 2 mutagens at once, but you also suffer the drawbacks of both mutagens at once. And when you drink a versatile vial, you only suppress the drawbacks of 1 of those 2 mutagens. Maybe it would have been too powerful to be able to benefit from 2 and ignore both drawbacks, but at level 13, I don't know, that sounds kind of fair to me. There's some extra text here describing how they're bending the rules to make this work and how polymorph effects will actually replace your mutagens without getting rid of the drawbacks. So keep that in mind. Make sure you read that and understand that completely, because that could come up if you're fighting, I don't know, an evil wizard or something. Overall, the Mutagenist is really cool and flavorful, but I still think I would rank it the weakest Alchemist subclass. But that could also just be from me not knowing all of the alchemical items in this system top to bottom. The Alchemist is absolutely a class that gives you more power based on the amount of research you do on the class, which normally I would hate, But for an alchemist, that makes absolute sense, so I'm here for it. And finally, the last research field, the Toxicologist, which of course gives you 2 common first-level poison formulas. The Toxicologist field benefit allows them to apply injury poisons to weapons and ammo for 1 action instead of 2. Additionally, all of your infused poisons you've made yourself can hurt creatures that are immune to poison. And even better than that, if a creature would have a weakness to poison or acid, your poisons will always deal the most effective one. If a creature's immune to poison but weak to acid, your poisons suddenly deal acid damage. If they're immune to acid and weak to poison, your poisons are back to dealing poison damage. It's phenomenal. And naturally, their versatile vials, along with being a 1d6 bomb, can also be applied to a weapon, and that weapon's next strike will just deal 1d6 extra damage. Keep in mind, nowhere in this subclass does it say your weapons. You can apply your poison to any weapon for 1 action. Oh, the fighter's standing right next to you and he's about to get a crit because he's a fighter? Just dip, 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 dip. Now when they crit, that 1d6 poison damage is gonna be doubled. Now, at first glance, it might seem pointless, like why would you just apply the poison to something instead of just attacking twice? Well, remember, the more damage you stack on top of 1 singular strike, the less multiple attack penalty you have to worry about. If you threw the bomb and then threw another bomb, that second bomb's coming at -5. But if you apply that bomb's damage to your short sword and then swing, you're only making 1 attack roll, but you're still getting almost just as much damage. Starting at level 5, the Toxicologist just gains inherent poison resistance equal to half their level. Makes sense. Starting at 11th level, whenever you apply your versatile vial to a weapon, the target of that weapon's strike now also takes the splash damage listed on the versatile vial rather than just the initial damage. And at level 13, the poison becomes even more effective. Now, whenever you hit a creature with the poison and they fail their saving throw against it, their wound sprays the poison onto another nearby target, causing them to save against the poison. Now, if they fail, it doesn't continue to spread, but this just means that every time you hit a target or your ally hits a target with your poison, there is the chance to poison a second adjacent creature, which is wild because injury poisons typically just do a chunk of flat damage. So as long as you hit the target and they fail, which remember, if you or the fighter critically hit the target, their saving throw against the poison is treated as 1 lower. So if they fail or crit fail, they're spraying their friend who might also fail or crit fail. Their saving throw is going to be normal, but it's still going to be bonus damage at the end of the day. Toxicologist has and still is probably my favorite alchemist subclass. I adore the idea of poisoning my weapons, poisoning my allies' weapons, and just going to town on the enemy for huge chunky numbers. Ugh, there's nothing like it. Alright, let's go over all of the Alchemist class features from 1 to 20, starting, obviously, with skill feats, general feats, skill increase, the same thing for every class. At level 5, they do get their Field Discovery, which is just a direct upgrade from their subclass, and then they get Powerful Alchemy. Powerful Alchemy is possibly the most important class feature for all alchemists, especially if you found a low-level alchemical item that you want to keep using, because as long as you have the Powerful Alchemy class feature, you can replace the built-in saving throw of an alchemical item with your class DC. So if you found a really cool level 2 alchemical item that inflicted a neat condition, but its saving throw was so easy that any enemy your level would be succeeding it no problem, you can just change that to your class DC, which the higher level you get, the more of a bonus this is going to give to those lower level alchemical items. Fantastic feature and really nice quality of life, letting you use the alchemical items you want, not just the highest level ones. At level 7, your weapon proficiency for simple weapons, alchemical bombs, and unarmed strikes increases to Expert, and your will saves increase to Expert as well. 9th level is another huge level for the Alchemist. Not only does your class DC increase to Expert, but now whenever you're gathering vials, instead of getting 2 vials per 10 minutes, you now get 3 versatile vials per 10 minutes between encounters. And this is good because you'll need those extra vials to make use of Double Brew. Now, whenever you one-action quick alchemy to create a consumable, you create 2 consumables, and they can be different items. You can make a bomb and an elixir of life for 1 action, but this does still consume 2 versatile vials. But this doesn't just apply to creating consumables, because it says you can create 2 items with quick alchemy, meaning if you want to, for 1 action, you can create 2 versatile vials, and then use your other 2 actions to throw them, or use your field vial benefit. Fantastic. upgrade. It can even help you out in some awkward action economy where you can create one consumable and create one versatile vial. Maybe use the consumable to apply poison to a weapon if you're a toxicologist, and then maybe just throw a versatile vial for 1d6 damage or however much damage it's dealing at this point. Really, really cool, super versatile, plays into the alchemist's strengths of being able to just do whatever is needed in that moment. And their perception increases to expert as well. Level 11 grants them another bonus from their subclass, and fortitude saves increase to master, meaning they automatically critically succeed any normally successful fortitude save. 13th level bumps their armor proficiency up to expert and gives them weapon specialization for those couple of points of extra damage, but most importantly it gives them their 13th level final bonus from their subclass. At 15th level, all of their weapon proficiencies increase to master, and their reflex saves increase to master as well, meaning if they ever normally succeed a reflex saving throw, they crit succeed instead. At level 17, their class DC increases to master, and they get abundant vials, permanently quickening the alchemist. However, this bonus action can only be used to use quick alchemy and can only be used to make one item, even though you have double brew. This is fine. This just gets you a whole free quick alchemy every single round of combat, which for a level 17 class feature is freaking amazing. With this, you can create 3 consumable items or versatile vials in your first 2 actions of combat, and then figure out what you're going to do with them for the other 2. That's so fun. Alright, it is time to get into the Alchemist feats from levels 1 to 20, but before we do, there's a very important trait I want to go over known as additive. A few of the Alchemist feats have the additive trait, and this basically augments the item you are going to create. Any individual item you create with quick alchemy can only have 1 additive total. Additionally, you can only use 1 additive per round. So if you have an additive that, say, makes the poison deal more damage, well, you can only use that on 1 poison in the entire round. Even if you can create multiple poisons, you can only put the additive in one of them. Hope that makes sense. Starting off, Alchemical Familiar. If you just want a little homunculus dude to help you out in your little alchemy kitchen, you can have one, and they get an extra ability. They're still limited to only 2 abilities per day, but they come with the Construct ability that does not count against their 2 per day. In addition, it uses your intelligence modifier for most of its skills. Alchemical Assessment. Rather than spending the normal 10 minutes to identify an alchemical item, you can roll crafting to identify it as a single action. No more, what is this red liquid in a glass bottle we found in the chest in the dungeon? No, now you look at it and 2 seconds later go, that's an elixir of life. Blowgun Poisoner is absolutely mind-boggling as a level 1 feat. All of these benefits only apply to blowguns, which deal, I believe, just 1 damage. I don't think you even roll. But the benefit of this feat is that if you hit a target with a blowgun, they make a save against the poison. As long as you hit, even if you dealt 0 damage, they are afflicted with the poison. Afflicted, that's a hard word. Additionally, if you are currently not observed and make a strike with a blowgun, you don't immediately become observed. No, you can roll stealth against that target's perception DC, and if you succeed, you remain hidden entirely. I love that this is an alchemist-specific feat, that they are the blowgun master. I've always wanted to play a blowgun alchemist. That'll probably be my next Pathfinder character, I'll be honest. Farlobber. Your bombs have a range of 30 feet instead of 20. Is that big a deal? As you get to the longer range increments, I suppose, because 20, 40, 60 is a lot worse than 30, 60, 90. Because remember, range increments, though it's not your max range, that's just every increment past that is a -2 to your attack rolls. So if you are throwing from really far away, this will severely lower your penalties than if you just use the basic 20-foot range. But why would you take Farlobber when Quick Bomber is just infinitely better? For 1 action, you can draw a bomb and throw it, or create a versatile vial and throw it, or use Quick Alchemy to create a bomb and throw it. Any of those options, all available for 1 action. This gets around the alchemist's biggest limiting factor, which is drawing their items. Usually you will have to 1 action to draw your item, then 1 action use it. This just lets you do both for 1 action, and if you have none left, it lets you quick alchemy and throw a bomb. This allows you to technically, as a bomber, attack 3 times per round just with versatile vials, because creating a vial is just 1 action. You can just create, throw, create, throw, create, throw. It's not a flourish or anything. On top of that, once you have the double brew feature, this creates 2 bombs or 2 versatile vials for the 1 action. You can still only strike with 1 of them, so if you want to throw the other one, it didn't technically save you any actions, but it's still pretty cool. Though technically with double brew as Quick Bomber, you can One action, create 2 of them, throw one of them for free, throw the other one for 1 action, Quick Alchemy, create 2 more with Quick Bomber, throw the 3rd one, and now you've got an extra bomb that any of your allies can take from you and chuck on their own. Super cool. Soothing Vials, only for the Chirurgeon Alchemist, is actually pretty good. Whenever they regain hit points from one of your infused items, so the Chirurgeon's versatile vials or just an elixir of life, they can immediately attempt another saving throw against a current mental effect on them with a +1 status bonus, and if they succeed, it ends the effect. That's just fantastic. If somebody's frightened or other mental effects, they can just end that by drinking your potion before they start attacking that turn, and hopefully ignore the entire frightened penalty. Fantastic. Clotting Elixirs. When a living creature regains hit points from one of your infused healing alchemical items, they can roll a DC 10 flat check to immediately end any persistent bleed damage as the wound just clots up immediately. Super creepy to think about, but also really freaking good. Improvise Admixture is pretty good. For 1 action, you make a crafting check to whip up a bunch of versatile vials. And these are not the limited inert versatile vials you make from Quick Alchemy. No, these are full, long-lasting versatile vials in the middle of combat. You make a crafting check against a standard difficulty DC. On a success, you get 2 vials. On a crit, you get 3. On a fail, you get 1. And on a crit fail, you get none. This is important because this will allow you to keep using Quick Alchemy to make actual consumables, not just be restricted to your versatile vials and field vial benefits. It's unfortunate that it is only once per day, but it's also only 1 action, so it's understandable. Would it be overpowered if this was once per encounter? Maybe it'd be too strong. I wouldn't mind it personally, but I just love alchemists. Pernicious Poison is neat. It makes sure your poison will almost always do something 9 times out of 10. This is an additive, so you can only use 1 per round, but when this poison is afflicted, if the target succeeds their saving throw against the poison, they take damage equal to the poison's level. If you applied a level 2 injury poison and they succeed their save, they still take 2 poison damage. And remember, if you're the Toxicologist, they can't even be immune to this if they're immune to poison. The only downside is this only works when they succeed. If they fail, they don't take this bonus damage. And if they critically succeed, they also don't take this poison damage. Maybe it would have been too strong because this would have just been it would have become all poisons deal bonus damage equal to the poison's level, which would have been crazy. So I do like it. It's a little fail-safe of, oh, they didn't take the full poison damage, but they still took a couple extra points, and that's nice. Revivifying Mutagen. For 1 action, you end a mutagen effect currently affecting you, but you regain 1d6 hit points per 2 levels of the mutagen. I don't really see this being that effective. 1d6 per 2 levels isn't that much. They could have even made this your character level. I guess the nice thing is you could buy a bunch of mutagens at, like, a town, not just the ones you make for the day or make from your versatile vials, but some backup mutagens that you can just chug and end over and over again to heal yourself. But in the middle of combat, you know, even at level 2, 1d6 hit points isn't going to save your life, and I would hesitate to say 1d6 hit points is not worth an action. Technically 2 actions if you want to renew your mutagen afterwards. Smoke Bomb. This is an additive that can be added to any alchemical bomb, and when that bomb is thrown, it creates a 10-foot burst of smoke from the corner of one of the squares that the creature occupies. This lasts for 1 minute or until blown away, and it works like most smoke does. Everything inside of it is concealed. Efficient Alchemy is okay. You get 2 additional alchemical items per day during your daily preparations, and if you ever craft alchemical items normally, you know, paying the gold, spending the required amount of days, you make twice as many items of that type than another character would. This is a phenomenal feat if you have a lot of downtime. If you don't have downtime in your campaign, which a lot of campaigns don't, you're only getting 2 extra items per day, which is not useless by any means, you know? Going from 8 items to 10 items is still pretty good. Enduring Alchemy seems super powerful at first, but once you read the fine print, it's not nearly as exciting. This feat allows any elixir or tool you create using Quick Alchemy to last until the end of your next turn instead of the beginning of your next turn before going inert. This is really useful if you need to make an elixir of life and maybe you just want to have it on hand to drink it next turn. That's great. But a big thing is that this doesn't apply to bombs. You can't create a bomb this turn to throw it next turn. It doesn't apply to mutagens and it doesn't apply to poisons. It only applies to elixirs and tools. Elixirs are obvious. Tools I almost never even think of. These are, I'll put some on screen right now. I never see anybody using alchemical tools, but they are possible and you can create them with quick alchemy, and with enduring alchemy they will last a couple extra seconds. Healing bomb, an additive that turns any elixir of life into a healing explosive. You throw it at a target and make a normal attack roll, which is kind of unfortunate, because that means if you want to throw this at someone like your champion with their shield raised, you suddenly have to beat their astronomical armor class with your mid-tier attack rolls. If you do manage to hit them though, they receive full healing as if they drank the elixir, and all creatures adjacent to them get basically splash healed equal to the number of dice the original target rolled to heal. So if you hit them with an elixir of life that regained 2d6, then everybody around them would also heal for 2 HP. Keep in mind, this does not differentiate friend and foe. If there is a damaged goblin next to the person you healed, that damaged goblin will get that 2 hit points. If you do happen to miss, which again if you're attacking a highly armored target is probably likely to happen, then you do still heal them, but only for the splash damage amount, and nobody around them gets splashed either. So if you were throwing a 2d6 elixir and you missed, they get healed for 2 hit points. And if you happen to crit fail, the healing bomb just like doesn't go off and it just goes inert and goes and nothing happens. Invigorating Elixir is a really nice additive because it makes an elixir potable even to a sickened creature. Rules as written, sickened creatures cannot ingest anything. However, an invigorating elixir can be ingested by a sickened creature. Additionally, the second the creature imbibes it, not only do they get the base elixir's effect, if it's an elixir of life, they heal some hit points, but you can immediately roll a counteract check against clumsy, enfeebled, stupefied, or sickened. You make a counteract check using your class DC bonus, that's just your class DC minus 10, and if it's successful, you reduce or remove the condition. The only problem is that the imbiber is then immune to this additive for 10 minutes, so you can only use this on an ally basically once per encounter. Regurgitate Mutagen is one of the coolest feats I've ever read. As long as you are currently under the effects of a mutagen, then for one action, you can vomit it onto any creature within 30 feet. Even the police are upset at this. This deals 1d6 acid damage per 2 character levels. This is based on your level, not the mutagen level, which is very nice, and the enemy gets a basic reflex save against your class DC, and if they fail, they are sickened 1, sickened 2 on a critical failure. Sickened is one of the nastiest effects in the entire game. This is phenomenal, and of course the mutagen affecting you does end after using this ability. Keep in mind though, it says it ends after using this ability. If you've got a mutagen, I don't know my mutagens, there might be none that exist like this, but if you've got a mutagen that increases your class DC or increases your basic damage on all damage rolls, that will apply to this because the mutagen ends afterwards. Tenacious Toxins is okay. It increases the duration of your poisons by the stage 1 interval. If going from stage 1 to stage 2 takes 1 round, then the poison's overall duration will increase by 1 round. But there are some really slow acting poisons that take like 10 minutes to go from stage 1 to stage 2, and then 1 round for stage 2 to 3 to 4. So this would give it an extra 10-minute long lasting effect, which could be pretty brutal depending on the poison you use. Again, you're going to get a lot more out of this class the more you research what you need to use. Speaking of doing your research to get the most out of an ability, Combine Elixirs is an additive that lets you spend 2 versatile vials instead of 1 to quick alchemy an elixir that has the effect of 2 elixirs. You are literally just pouring 2 elixirs into a glass and saying, drink up, Buttercup. And you can do 2 of the same elixirs. It even says as an example, if you combine 2 elixirs of life, they get the healing from both. Or if you combine an Eagle's Eye elixir and a Dark Vision elixir, you get both effects. Super freaking cool. Debilitating Bomb is fine. It's an additive you can add to any alchemical bomb where you choose between Dazzled, Deafened, Off Guard, or 5-foot speed penalty. If you successfully hit a creature with that bomb, they get a Fortitude save against your class DC, and if they fail, they are affected by the condition you chose. This is fine. You know, it doesn't cost an extra action or anything, so you can just use this to upgrade your bombs once per round, which is pretty great. Being able to just make people off guard with your explosions is a really fun playstyle. Additionally, it doesn't matter who uses the bomb. If you give it to the fighter and they throw the off-guard bomb, it uses your class DC when they make the saving throw. What I'm curious about, and this is how I would rule it, is if the bomb was a critical hit when it struck the target, their saving throw would be treated as one level lower because any saving throw associated with an attack roll gets that penalty when the attack was a critical hit. Directional bombs is cool. Whenever you throw a bomb with the splash trait, rather than the splash always being perfectly around the target, you can actually choose a corner of that target's space and emit a 15-foot cone from that corner instead. So if your allies are on this side, and there's a goblin here, and then a goblin behind that goblin, you can hit that goblin with your goblin bomb so it splashes into a cone, hitting the other goblin behind the goblin with your goblin bomb. You follow? And if you ever get a feature that increases the range of your splash, it also increases the range of the cone to 20 feet, which is pretty big. Fortified Elixirs is a direct upgrade to your antidotes and anti-plague. Normally, these just grant an item bonus to saving throws against poisons or diseases for their duration. However, at any time while the imbiber is under the effect of one of these healing items, if they fail a fortitude save, they can choose to willingly end the bonus from those items, so they no longer gain the item bonus to the saving throw, but they can immediately re-roll that saving throw. So if you've got +2 from an antidote against a pretty vicious poison, and you roll that nat 1, you can choose to immediately end the antidote and re-roll that d20 and probably get another nat 1. Sticky poison is pretty good as a little backup so you don't have to end up wasting actions. Normally, if you ever critically miss a target with an attack roll with a poisoned weapon, the poison disappears. Or if you normally succeed an attack against a target, it applies the poison and the poison disappears. But with sticky poison, both of those situations give you a chance to keep it. If you ever critically miss a target, you get to roll a flat DC 5 check. A 5 or higher on the d20, no bonuses, you get to keep the poison on the weapon. And in my opinion, even better than that, anytime you successfully hit a target with a poison, you get to roll a DC 17, and if you roll a 17 or higher, no bonuses, the poison stays on your weapon, meaning you can keep using it. And it specifically says your weapon remains poisoned until the end of your next turn, so I feel like that might supersede the poison becoming inert if you made it from like a versatile vial, but that becomes a, which rule is technically right, and that's sort of up to your table. I'd be fine with it extending the poison because you took a freaking feat for it. The biggest downside to this is it does say your strike. You can't roll to extend the effect of a poison on the ally's weapon, only on your own. Alter Admixture is fine. It's probably most useful for the Mutagenist and the Toxicologist, but it's okay. You can spend 10 minutes to change any item you created during your daily preparations into another alchemical item of that type. An elixir has to be turned into another elixir. A bomb has to be turned into another bomb. It's fine. It's a little bit limited, and 10 minutes is a long time to spend, but it could be useful if you just need an antidote but you only made elixirs of life, or you need some kind of roleplay based mutagen but all you prepared were combat mutagens. It's nice in case you prepared the wrong stuff, but it feels almost unnecessary because of how good quick alchemy and versatile vials are now. Improved Invigorating Elixir allows it to counteract even more effects beyond the original 4. However, when you take this feat, you have to choose physical or mental, but you can take the feat again to pick the other one. If you picked physical, your Invigorating Elixirs can now counteract blinded, deafened, drained, paralyzed. Did I just speak a word? And slowed. And if you pick mental, you can counteract confused, controlled, fleeing, paralyzed, and slowed. Phenomenal. Being able to counteract drained is absolutely wild. Remember, drained usually only goes down by one stage every long rest. So being able to just counteract that with an invigorating elixir is crazy. Mutant Physique is a fantastic feat, but it does feel like a must-take for a mutagenist alchemist, and I'm not a big fan of must-take feats, especially when this can be taken by any alchemist. It's not even special to the mutagenist, but I digress. Let's go over the effects. Whenever you drink a specific mutagen, one of the 3 listed mutagens, you gain a bonus effect. When you are under the effects of the bestial mutagen, you gain the item bonus to your intimidation checks as well, and it increases the die size of your claw and jaw attacks granted by the mutagen. Plus, both of those attacks gain the deadly D10 trait, meaning they deal a whole extra D10 of damage on top of their doubled crit. The Juggernaut mutagen now also grants you resistance to all physical damage equal to half your level. Wild. And the Quicksilver mutagen allows you to stretch and squeeze yourself, meaning you can treat yourself as one size smaller when squeezing through a small space, and you can use the step action to move 10 feet instead of 5. That's a huge bonus. And it does state that if for any reason you can be under the effects of multiple mutagens and you are under 2 of the listed mutagens here, you gain all of the bonuses. Pinpoint Poisoner is absolutely insane, and I would say is a must-take feat for the Toxicologist, and you know how I feel about must-take feat. But if a creature is off guard and you hit them with an injury poison, they take a -2 circumstance penalty to their saving throw against the poison. Like, if you're a toxicologist, you're taking this. That is wild. It's not even just injury poisons. If they can inhale an ingested poison too while they're off guard, they take this penalty. The biggest thing that does balance it is it does specifically say when you successfully strike a target. So once again, if you give the poison to your fighter, they don't get this bonus. So, but I do like that they're giving the Alchemist Toxicologist reasons to use their own poisons rather than just upgrade their allies, giving them the ability, like, you can still build that. You don't have to take this feat and just keep poisoning your fighter's weapon every turn, but I love that they have options to improve their own abilities, making them good at using their poisons. I love that a lot. Sticky Bomb is cool. You can use this additive on any alchemical bomb to cause it to also apply persistent damage equal to the type and amount of the bomb's splash damage. If the bomb deals 2 acid splash damage, it can also apply 2 persistent acid damage. The problem here is that additives, remember, cannot be used on quick vials. This would be an insane combo with the Bomber, who could use their versatile vials for acid, cold, or fire, or electric damage and apply persistent damage of that type. But as long as you've got quick alchemy and the versatile vials to use it, you probably have the formulas for all those different flavored bombs as well, so the Bomber Alchemist especially can just apply persistent damage of almost any type. If you know the target's weakness, that is a butt ton of extra damage. Advanced Efficient Alchemy. I don't know why this needed to be a second feat when they could have just made it a scaling feat, but if you took Efficient Alchemy at lower levels, then now you get 2 more consumable items every day. And then once you hit level 16, another 2 more automatically. I don't like that these are locked behind feats. Would it really have been that overpowered to make this a class feature? That at levels, whatever it was, like 4, 10, and 16, they just get 2 more items per day? Because by default, the Alchemist in the Remaster doesn't get more consumables every morning. They're very reliant on their versatile vials. I don't know. Having this be not 1, but 2 feats to get a couple extra consumables per day feels pretty bad. It's still useful, don't get me wrong. It is a great effect. It just feels bad that you have to spend a feat to gain that effect. Expanded Splash is wild. Not only does it increase the range of the splash damage on all of your bombs from the normal 5 feet up to 10 feet, but you can also add your intelligence modifier to the splash damage. Meaning if you've got a bomb that deals 3 splash damage and you've got +5 intelligence, suddenly that's dealing 8 damage to every creature within 10 feet of your target. Or if you're the Bomber, just 10 damage to your target. And speaking of the Bomber, if they use their subclass bonus to just have the splash damage be equal to their intelligence modifier, you just become dealing double your intelligence modifier in splash damage. If it would normally deal 2 damage, but you've got a +5 to intelligence, you can just say, no, that actually does 10 splash damage. And splash damage doesn't get a saving throw. I feel like I need to hammer that home. If you can target 3 creatures in the range of your splash, it doesn't even matter how much damage you deal with the initial bomb, all 3 of those creatures are guaranteed taking 10 damage of the listed type. Phenomenal. Greater Debilitating Bomb. When you use a Debilitating Bomb, now you can also choose from adding Clumsy 1, Enfeebled 1, Stupefied 1, or -10-foot status penalty to speeds. That's pretty decent. If you know you're fighting a Spellcaster, make them Stupefied. If you know you're fighting a Giant Ogre, make them Enfeebled. Reduce their strongest stat, or just always go with Clumsy because it reduces armor class. Literally always helpful. Unstable Concoction is fantastic. This is an additive, so you can only do it once per round, but you can add it to any item you create that has an initial dice effect. What does that mean? Well, a bomb has an initial dice effect because it deals damage. An elixir has an initial dice effect because it restores hit points. A mutagen does not have an initial dice effect because it grants you an attack that has that level of dice, but it's not an initial effect upon imbibing the elixir. So what does this do? It increases the die size of whatever you created. If you created, I have no idea, a 1d8 Alchemist Fire, cool, now it's a 1d10 Alchemist Fire. If you created a 3d6 Elixir of Life, now it's a 3d8 Elixir of Life. The only downside is that whoever imbibes this unstable elixir does need to make a DC 10 flat check, so a little less than 50% of the time, you are going to be taking acid damage equal to the item's level. So if you're level 10 and you drink a level 10 elixir of life that's unstable, sure, they're going to be D8s instead of D6s, but you might take 10 damage up front, so be careful. I think I said imbibing, I meant activating, by the way. So if you throw the bomb, there's a chance the bomb just spills acid on your arm as you throw it. Extend elixir. Any elixir item you create has its duration doubled. If it gives you a bonus for 3 minutes, it becomes 6 minutes. However, if it was created with quick alchemy, this cannot be longer than a 10-minute duration. But any items you create during your daily preparations, if they have an hour-long duration, that becomes 2 hours. Y'all know how much I love feat trees, right? Supreme Invigorating Elixir. Now, when somebody imbibes one of your Invigorating Elixirs, it treats your level as 2 levels higher, which then gets cut in half to find your Counteract level. So effectively, your Counteract level is going to be +1. But the big upgrade to this is that your Invigorating Elixirs can now counteract Petrified, which I don't know how you have a petrified person drink an elixir, but here we are. Stunned, and any disease. That's a really big upgrade. I really hate feat trees. You know, I would hate to be a Chirurgeon where 3 of my 6 feats up to this point were all invigorating elixirs. That's something I would put on like an AI NPC, not AI, what is this, a video game? This is what I would put on like an NPC to bring along with the allies with like super strong elixirs that get stronger as long as they survive to this level, but it wouldn't feel amazing, at least for me personally, to play an alchemist whose entire half of their identity is invigorating elixir. Uncanny Bombs is fine. You do need the Far Lobber level 1 feat, which is not a great feat, so it already sucks that you have to take a mid-tier feat to take this one, but it does increase your bomb's range increment to 60 feet. It ignores 1 point of bonus armor class from any creatures behind cover, and it automatically ignores the concealed condition when trying to target something with a strike. It's fine. If you're a bomber, you probably want this because the extended range alone is nice. I just hate feat trees. Double Poison is really complicated when you read it out loud, but it basically just takes 2 poisons and puts them together, always utilizing the worse option of both when it comes to DC and interval. If only one of the poisons was virulent, the resulting poison is not, but if both poisons were virulent, the resulting double poison is virulent, meaning it's harder to resist the saving throw. But this allows you to apply 2 poisons to the same weapon to gain that effect. However, the poisons do need to be applied separately. This is when you're going to want your longbow ranger to hold out an arrow to you, and you drip, you know, a 2d12 poison and an 4d8 poison onto their weapon, and you watch it fly, and it deals all that bonus damage in 1 hit, as long as they fail their save. The biggest limitation is that the poisons you use need to be at least 2 levels lower than your level. So you can't double stack your strongest poisons, but you can double stack some slightly weaker poisons to make them better than your strongest poison. I think this is what you take if you're going with the let me poison your weapons build, whereas the other feats more so support a toxicologist who wants to do their own damage. And I love that there's options for both. Mutant Innervation. This is sort of the opposite of the physical mutant upgrade we saw a few levels back. This one is for mental mutagens, granting them bonus effects. Holy cow, the cognitive mutagen now grants its item bonus to deception, diplomacy, intimidation, medicine, nature, performance, religion, and survival checks, and gives you telepathy. Which, by the way, it's 2-way telepathy, so they can talk back to you. The Serene Mutagen now hides all magical emanation from you and protects you from scrying effects of 9th rank or lower. You're level 14! And you can be immune to a 9th rank spell effect. That's incredible. You could really easily cosplay as a commoner with this, even if you're level 14. And the Silver Tongue Mutagen just allows you to ignore any circumstance penalties to deception, diplomacy, intimidation, and performance. So you can just ignore those penalties completely, and you can speak to anybody regardless of if you share a language or not. So y'all know how I've been talking about how much I love feat trees in this video. True Debilitating Bomb! Debilitating Bomb can now inflict Enfeebled 2, Stupefied 2, or minus 15-foot status penalty to speed, which is really, really slow. Notably, they did not give it Clumsy 2, which I guess is for balance purposes, because it reduces armor class, but I don't know. I feel like that wouldn't have been too much. Eternal Elixir requires Extend Elixir as a feat. However, if you drink any infused elixir of half your level or lower with a duration of 1 minute or longer, you make it permanent. just straight up, it lasts forever. This is amazing for like the Mutagenist, who can just have a mutagen, maybe with a drawback they don't even care about, affect them permanently, and then they get the ability to have a second mutagen active at all times. Just fantastic stuff. Or if you just want a permanent +1 to like certain saving throws, or more than +1 at this level, this is a fantastic feat. Just remember, it only applies to you, the Alchemist. You cannot give an ally a permanent elixir. Exploitive Bomb is an additive. However, when added to a bomb, any damage it deals of a chosen damage type that you pick ignores an amount of resistance equal to your level. So if you're fighting something with resistance 15 to fire, but you've got Alchemist's fire, you can just ignore the resistance. And this applies to the initial damage, the splash damage, and the persistent damage. So if you've got like Sticky Bomb and you afflict them with whatever 4 persistent damage per turn, then they can't resist that. That's still going to tick down on them. It's level 16, so it's not crazy, and you are an Alchemist, you have access to other damage types, so I don't think this is the most mind-blowing feat in the game, but anything that can ignore up to 20 points of resistance isn't bad. So I know I said Eternal Elixir would be great on the Mutagenist, but I forgot that there was Persistent Mutagen, which is basically a similar effect. During your daily preparations, you can drink any mutagen and have its duration become until your next daily preparations. So you still have to use 1 per day, but it's up to your full level, not the restriction of half your level like Eternal Elixir was. Improbable elixirs is the only way for an alchemist to be able to make magical potions. In case you're unaware, alchemical items and potions are 2 totally different things. Potions are inherently magical, alchemical items have no magic in them whatsoever. Improbable elixirs allows you to pick a number of formulas for potions equal to your intelligence modifier of 9th level or lower, so you can just pick any 9th level potions you want. These potions become treated as alchemical items for you, meaning you can make them with quick alchemy, you can make them during your daily preparations, you have access to probably all 5 of those formulas for the rest of your alchemist career. Pretty cool. Again, I can't come up with anything on the spot for what amazing combos this could be used for, but if you do your research, I'm sure you'll find some bananas stuff. Also keep in mind, because these potions are 9th level or lower and they become infused elixirs, they can be combined with Eternal Elixir to make them permanent, so there's a lot of fun to be had here. Miracle Worker. Once per 10 minutes, if a creature has been dead for less than 2 rounds, you can administer a major or true elixir of life. They return to 1 hit point and they're only wounded 1. Every 10 minutes. Oh, sorry, no, more than 2 rounds, not less than 2 rounds. You have 2 full rounds of combat to get to your dead party member, give them some Capri Sun, and they pop back up like, damn. They got hands. Sure, it's level 18, and I'm sure the cleric already has some form of resurrection, but this is amazing. Like, it doesn't matter if the cleric's out of spell slots or anything, as long as you've got 1 versatile vial in your butt, you can 1-action quick alchemy, true elixir of life, drop that in their mouth, and they're alive again. That's, if you have to move, it's 3 actions. 1 to move, 1 to make it, 1 to administer it. Oh my god, and you have the free ability at level 17 as an alchemist to quicken free action craft something. You can move twice, quick craft something, and administer it in 1 turn. The Alchemist is the ultimate lifesaver now at level 18. Perfect Debilitation. This upgrades your debilitating bombs by making it so they only avoid the effect on a critical success, not a normal success. Pretty fantastic ability if you're going with a debilitating bomb build. It just sucks that if you really want to play debilitating bomb, 4 of your 10 class feats have been chosen for you. Have fun. Level 20 stuff. Alright, let's get to the insanity. Alchemical Revivification. If you die while under the effects of at least 1 active elixir, could be an antidote, could be a mutagen, anything that just gives you a lasting benefit, and you die, you can use the alchemical compounds in your system to return to life. You are affected, in order, by an elixir of rejuvenation, which I'll put on screen, a true elixir of life giving you a bunch of hit points back, then your choice of major bestial, juggernaut, or quicksilver mutagen. All of this hits you at once. You can't put additives into any of them, obviously, but you get affected by all of those at once, and you can't use this again for 1d4 hours? You can just die for free once every couple of hours and you're fine. You're always going to be affected by some kind of an elixir. You're an alchemist. You are so hard to kill now. And remember, this is not dying. This is not like, oh, I'm making death saves. This is, I just failed my last death save, but the elixir's still in my tummy, so I wake back up. Phenomenal level 20 feat. Craft Philosopher's Stone, which I guess means I should go over what the Philosopher's Stone does, because you need an entire level 20 Alchemist feat just to make it. The Philosopher's Stone is a special item that can only be crafted by a level 20 Alchemist with this feat, and it can only be created during daily preparations with Advanced Alchemy. However, instead of lasting for 1 day, the Philosopher's Stone specifically lasts for 1 month. In order to use the Philosopher's Stone in any way, you do need somebody who can force it open with a DC 35 athletics check, but once you do, you gain access to the special Quicksilver inside, which has 2 uses. You can apply some of the Quicksilver to a true Elixir of Life, turning it into an Elixir of Rejuvenation, which I'll put on screen right now, or you can literally just use the Philosopher's Stone to create gold by using this as a downtime earn income activity, where a successful crafting check will earn you 500 gold per day, and a critical success will earn you 750 gold per day. Rather, I should say you are making precious metals of that gold value, which you will assumedly sell for insane revenue. Overall, I don't think this is that worth a level 20 feat. I think it's a fun idea if your end goal is, yeah, my alchemist retires, makes a Philosopher's Stone every couple months, makes a bunch of money, and lives in the lap of luxury. I think it's great from a flavor standpoint, but from a mechanical standpoint, it's not actually all that strong. And the final level 20 feat is Mega Bomb. This is an additive that turns your bomb into Big Bomb, and it takes 2 actions to throw it. So this basically means you can quick alchemy plus additive Mega Bomb and throw for 3 actions. A Mega Bomb does not require an attack roll. Rather, you pick a 30-foot burst anywhere within 60 feet. Remember, that's 30 feet in all directions. Every single creature, not enemies, creatures, makes a reflex save against your class DC, and every single creature who fails takes damage as though they were the primary target of the bomb, plus the bomb's splash damage. Oh, and by the way, this was a basic reflex save, so if they succeed, they're still taking half damage. They only are immune on a critical success. This also means they can critically fail to take double damage from your bomb. If you can land this on like 10 or 11 enemies, you will be looking at so much widespread carnage with the Mega Bomb. I think it's obvious that Mega Bomb is probably the best level 20 feat. Alchemical Revivification, not bad. Having that built-in failsafe that you can't die, you have to be killed twice in a row, is phenomenal. Philosopher's Stone, very, very flavorful, very, very cool. Not quite strong enough to be considered on a min-maxed character, as it were, I guess. But there is your Alchemist. There is my Alchemist. They got so much love in the remaster. So many ways to make certain subclasses more viable. So many more ways to make the Alchemist better at using their own alchemical items. I think this has been a majorly needed and well-done facelift. But let me know what you think in the comments. I want to hear what you think about the new Alchemist. What do you think? Have you done any research into an Alchemist of your own? It's a lot of studying. There's so many alchemical items to choose from, and the Alchemist gets access to as many as they have formulas for. But that is it for me. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again to Geek Tropical for sponsoring. Where's the thing? Geek Tropical for sponsoring this video and sending me this awesome shirt. If you want to get some great nerdy shirts for yourself, use my link in the description. It helps out the channel. It helps out the local business of Geek Tropical. They're amazing people. They've been fantastic to work with. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, no nat ones.